Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So today we are going to be talking about some new grammar, a new type of verb conjugation. So I'm going to embed this note video in addition to posting it on the main page in a Google form. So if you aren't in class when you're doing this, that way it's like you can imagine me asking you the Google form questions after you watch your notes as just like a way for me to check that you were actually listening and that you wrote down notes, because some of you are trying to do virtual school without actually taking notes, and it's kind of difficult to do the work on your own if you don't have that information at your fingertips. So we're going to get started, and today we're going to talk about affirmative and negative informal commands. So I will go ahead and share my screen with everybody. So informal commands. So the first part that we are going to do is the affirmative. So affirmative commands is when you're telling someone to do something. And so if I told you to take notes, that is an affirmative command. If I told you to listen well, that is another affirmative command. And the reason these are informal is because they are the process and they are the type of command that we are going to use with people we address in the to form. So it's to tell someone you address in the to form to do something. So the affirmative informal commands are fairly simple to form. So to form the affirmative informal command, you take the to form and drop the S off of the end. So I've got three examples. I've got hablar, comer, and pedir. So step one, I've got them in the infinitive. So now I'm going to put them in the to form for the present tense. So we have hablas, comes, and pides. So that is you speak, you eat, and you ask for. These are just regular verbs in the present tense. Now, our most important step to transforming these into commands is simply to drop off the last S. So we have habla, come, and pide. Those are three commands. So I might say habla in español, speak in Spanish. Come antes de la clase, eat before class. Or pide una agua, order a water, ask for a water. Yeah, so there are just a handful of verbs that have affirmative informal commands that are irregular. You do have to just memorize them straight up, but the good news is that some of them are easy peasy. Some of them are just shortened versions of the infinitive. Here we go. For tener, the command form is ten. Venir, our command form is ven. Poner is pon. Ir is ve. Ser is se with an accent. Hacer is haz. Salir is sal. And decir is di. So pause the video, and I want you to write this chart down. There are going to be irregulars just like this. These exact examples are going to be on every practice that we do and will be on your quiz over commands. And here are a couple of extra verbs that we will probably be using when we're talking about chores. And they all are regular. so no worries. The only thing you have to remember is to include stem changes. So we have abrir, which would be abre, calentar, calienta, sacar would be saca, cortar would be corta, mezclar, mezcla, and añadir would be añade. Okay, so right now, here are 10 practice examples that I want you to do. So yeah, sorry. So if you want to pause the video and do these, you can. I think that would be great practice. There are a few irregulars, so watch out for words like hacer, poner, tener, and ir. Okay, so if you want, pause the video. Here are the final answers. So we have come las zanahorias, eat the carrots. Habla conmigo, talk with me. Pide los sandwiches, order the sandwiches. And the reason that pide has an I instead of an E is because it has a stem change. And we do have to include those. Haz tu tarea, do your homework. Pon la mesa, set the table. Lava los platos, wash the dishes. Ten cuidado, be careful. Ve al cine con tus amigos, go to the movies with your friends. Saca la basura, take out the trash. And abre la puerta, open the door. Great job. So that is our information on affirmative informal commands. Now we are going to have a little bit of information about informal commands that are negative. So this has nothing to do with the verb being like a negative or a bad word, which is what some students think when we first hear this. But a negative command is simply don't do something. So if I say don't eat the grape, I'm telling you not to do something. So a negative command simply tells someone not to do something. To form a negative informal command of most AR verbs, you drop the O from the yo form and add an ES. So the verb fumar is to smoke. So the yo form, I smoke, would be fumo. I would drop this O and replace it with an ES. And you also add no to the front of the verb. So no fumes is don't smoke. Another example, trabajar. The yo form is trabajo. You drop the O, add an ES, and put a no in front. So we have no trabajes, don't work. To form the negative informal command of most ER and IR verbs, you still drop the final O from the yo form, but instead of an ES, you add an AS. So here are some examples with venir, comer, and dormir. So venir, the yo form is vengo. It's irregular in the yo form. And then you drop the O and add an AS. So no vengas, don't come. No vengas a mi fiesta, don't come to my party. Comer changes to como in the yo form. Drop the O, add an AS, no comas. Dormir has a stem change, it's O to UE. So we have duermo, drop the O, add an AS, no duermas, don't sleep. And there are 3 irregulars in the negative informal command form. We have dar, ir, and ser. So make sure you write these down. No des, no vayas, and no seas. Don't give, don't go, don't be. And this isn't completely necessary, but I figured it would be super, super helpful. So there are some verbs that technically aren't counted as irregular in the command form, but they are irregular in their yo forms. So these are what we call go verbs in Spanish, because the yo form ends in go. They have a random G in the yo form. So these are the yo forms that you'll have to use in your formula. So poner, the yo form is pongo. So the negative command would be no pongas. Tener would be no tengas, no traigas, no oigas, no vengas, no hagas, no salgas. So if you have these written down, it'll be less of a surprise that they are actually go verbs instead of just regulars. And here are 6 examples. Go ahead and do it. Hazlo. You can pause the video, practice these. Here are the answers. No comas muchas hamburguesas. Don't eat a lot of hamburgers. No salgas tarde para la clase. Don't leave late for class. No corras en la iglesia. Don't run in church. No fumes. Don't smoke. No pongas los pies en la mesa. Don't put your feet on the table. And no seas tonto. Don't be stupid. So real quick, just to like double check that you guys have everything written that you need to have written at the very minimum, I am going to show you the document camera and just double check these super basic command rules, because it can never hurt to just be extra sure that you have them written correctly. So our affirmative commands, so we take the to form in the present, and then we drop the final S. So if I had hablas, that would be habla, talk. And then the negative commands have 4 steps instead of 2. And this is how I will typically phrase it. It's a little bit different from your notes. So start in the yo form. And this is the yo form for the present tense. You drop the final O. And what I typically say is that you add the opposite to ending. So for AR verbs, that would be an ES. And then for ER and IR verbs, it's an AS. And then number 4, our last step, is that you put no in the front. So we'll still use hablar as our example. So we take the yo form, drop the O, and then we add the opposite to ending. So because hablar is an AR verb, we add ES, and then we add no to the front, no hables. Don't talk. Okay. Hopefully that has you covered. If you have any questions at all, just reach out to me on Remind, on email, shoot me a message, or stop by a Zoom. I have those on a weekly basis, and I'd love to help you out.